how can poor note-taking affect your productivity?
Note-taking is the first step into any productivity system, is the input stage in ICOR. And also, note-taking, at least for me as a writer, helps me to think about the things. So if I have a poor note-taking process, I'm not thinking correctly. Based on that, if the input is not good, you cannot aspire or think that your output will be amazing.
Paperless Movement, your productivity, your way.
So imagine the moment that you start creating inputs that are not properly distilled, thought, again, that makes sense for you. People are obsessed about quantity. They want to capture everything. Not an idea can be lost. Everything needs to be written down. And at the end, they end up with note-taking process system that creates a PKing, a personal knowledge management, that doesn't make sense at all. It's a PKing system that is not based in the what we call the key elements in life, is not based on the current projects that you are running, or not even related to the topics that you may be interested in. That's why we created a mental model named the Capturing Bits that helps you to reduce your focus and your attention in the nightmare of today's world. And I think that the moment that you dedicate time to really create a brilliant process of note-taking, that you perfectly know how to store the things, where to store, how to write things down, how to give a little bit of a structure initially, so the moment that you start retrieving that information, you can easily retrieve and it still makes sense for you, because that's one of the things that we say. We start writing things down without thinking about if that will make sense at any moment in the future that I could look at it. So if you start creating a little bit of context that is giving additional information to that piece of information that you took the time to write it down, then try to make the best, because we always say the same, that everything starts with a simple idea, maybe just a sentence, a quote, a thought, whatever. Any project starts with that. And that's why we need to emphasize that and reduce the amount and improve the quality of how you structure the information, how you take the time to really distill and write the things down that really make sense, again, that are important for you and why you wrote it down. And I think that that's one of the most important things in a productivity system, because it's the starting point of everything.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at this from a developer's perspective, as they have the saying, shit in, shit out. When you go into coding, then you see the same parallels there to normal business note-taking that you do there. When they write codes, it starts working, right? And then they build up on this code and more, and then you end up with this so-called spaghetti code that was leading you to the goal, right? You build something that works somehow, that is all based on one thought process. But once you want to get back to this code and try to optimize this a month later, you have no clue where to start, where to find information, and then everything is a mess. So especially another person comes in and wants to work with you together on this code, then they have no clue, because there was no notes on what this code snippet does or things like that. And that's the same here as well in a professional's life. When we take notes that we don't understand later on what we meant by this because context is missing, then what was the purpose of taking these notes down? So this starts here in the personal knowledge management, where I need to give context in order to realize later on, and it also, for example, applies to meeting notes, at least give it a date, give who was attending and the key points that were discussed there. So you can find it later on, at least by the date or by the attendees, right? That's the context again that you can give there. But without context, it will be hard to find the notes that you have taken about this meeting. And then this is your personal knowledge management world. Then we move on to the BKM, the business knowledge management, as we separate this in ICOR, where we share the information with the team. So again, it's another step of this initial notes that you have taken. If you don't already understand what you actually have noted down, how are you supposed to properly now move this on to your team members? I think that's important to think long term about whenever you take your notes. What's the purpose of this note?
I think that it's important. Again, you need to be able to navigate through your knowledge the exact same way you are navigating in your physical brain. At the end, it doesn't matter if I'm going through my tools or through my brain. I perfectly understand everything. I don't need to memorize anything. That's why try to make sense of all the things. The moment that you go back to that content quickly, you know what's going on. If you create a quickly outline to create a certain structure, a hierarchy of knowledge that helps you to better understand that, those are the tiny things that, when compounding, creates something that you don't understand at all, or the opposite, something that you can perfectly navigate. And that's how you can enhance your note-taking process and consequently your PKM.
So how do you feel after seeing all this? Do you think your productivity system is at this level? Take our free 3-minute quiz to find out. Whether you struggle with note-taking, PKM, task or project management, or even workflow automation, we've got you covered. Depending on your results, you'll get a tailor-made free email course starting right after you finish the quiz that will instantly level up your productivity system with laser-focused actionable advice. Click the link in the description below and unlock your full potential. And we are personally here to help you succeed. So let's ICOR together.